everybody. Recently I was tagged to do the language tag, and you can see who tagged me and who I will tag in the description below, so check out their channels. They are very, very cool people. Now let's begin. So the first question is, what do you consider to be your native language? English. I'm just English. Second question, what was your first language learning experience? See, now that's interesting because, as you guys know, I've mentioned this quite a few times, but my mother was born in Panama, so I got some exposure to Spanish as a kid, even though I didn't grow up speaking it. So I would hear it from time to time on the TV, or when my mom would be talking to my grandparents or something like that. Also, she would buy me little bilingual dolls and stuff where you would like squeeze the hand and it would say hand and then translate into Spanish. Also, she would try to teach me a little bit of phrases here and there. And then eventually in elementary school, I did take a beginner's after school class type thing where I learned how to say tengo frío, tengo hambre, stuff like that. That would be my first exposure to language learning, I'd say. Formally, if you're talking about like taking a class at school, that would be 8th grade when I started Spanish classes. So question number 3, what languages have you studied and why did you start them? If you see me looking off, it's because I have the questions on my laptop and my laptop is over there. Anyway, so what languages have I studied and why did I start them? Yes. Well, I started Spanish because, one, that is a language that the majority of my family speaks. One side does not speak any Spanish, the other side is Hispanic. So a lot of them do speak Spanish, a lot of them still live in Panama, a lot of them also live in the United States but still speak Spanish. So I kind of wanted to have a connection to my family, but also my mom really pressed for me to learn Spanish because she didn't teach it to me when I was growing up. Studied French because that was the only other language offered at my high school, so I really didn't have much of a choice. I just wanted to do another language elective, so I took Spanish and French at the same time, and then continued on in college. I took Portuguese in college to avoid taking another Spanish literature elective because that's not really my thing, and I thought, I don't know a lot about Portuguese, and I'm more interested in learning other languages, but if that counts as my Spanish major elective, then I'll take it. I ended up loving it, taking the second class, and then continuing on my own, and to this day, I'm still trying to maintain it. Japanese, I tried studying at school, not at school, my school didn't offer those classes, but when I was in high school, I tried teaching myself Japanese by using my Japanese coach because I was really interested in the language. I went through a phase where I really liked anime, and to an extent, I still watch a little bit, but not nearly as much as when I was younger. Korean, I got really into K-pop in 9th grade, so quite a few years ago, and I got very into it and wanted to learn the language so I can understand the music. Learning that on my own. Also, I wanted to be able to understand Korean dramas because I started to get into them. I also tried learning Esperanto at one point because I heard that it was the easiest language to learn. And at the time, I was taking Spanish classes, but I didn't know Spanish conversationally. And I was getting so impatient of not knowing a language fluently other than English. So I was just looking for anything out there that would be considered easy so I wouldn't have to put much work into it to learn it fluently. That was a mistake, not learning Esperanto. I mean, I don't know it, I've forgotten all of it, but what was a mistake was just bouncing around trying to find what the easiest thing was instead of just sticking with one thing and going. And I will be writing, well, actually, my blog post for this past week was on that topic, so you can further find out kind of like my method of learning languages and how important it is to not give up and not be wishy-washy and start a ton of languages. Just stick with one. Next question. How does your personality affect how you learn languages? So, I'm pretty shy. At first, even to this day though, but especially at first when it came to trying to speak with native speakers, whether it was on Skype or in person, I would be so shy that I think I even messed up more than I normally would have if I weren't shy. But now that I'm used to doing that, I love to talk. I love talking to people and getting to know people, so I go on Skype and I try to find people to talk to and practice languages with. I try to do exchanges in person as well. So there's that. Also, I like to set goals. So I try to set attainable goals so that it keeps me motivated once I see I completed a goal, and then build up fluency that way. I also like to start one thing. When I have, so I look at it this way. I have a plate of food in front of me, and I have 3 things on that plate. So let's say I have, because Thanksgiving happened a little while ago, I have stuffing, mashed potatoes, and then turkey. So I'll start with one thing. I'll start with the turkey. And I won't move on to the mashed potatoes or stuffing until I finish the turkey. Then once I'm done with the turkey, I'll move on to the next thing. And then once I'm done with the next thing, I move on to the next thing. So I'm very sequential when it comes to learning anything or doing a task. When I do my homework, I like to get one subject done first. I don't dabble around in different homework assignments all at once. So when it comes to learning languages, I'll usually look at grammar first, and then start speaking. At the same time, I will try producing the language as early as possible, but I do definitely go in a certain sequence when I learn languages. Next question. Do you prefer learning languages in a class or individually? So that one, you're gonna think I sound very indecisive, but both. So I like to learn languages in a class to get the foundation, because I think it's very important to have that during the beginning stages when you're learning grammar and vocabulary and everything. I think it's very important to kind of have that accountability of taking a class where your grade your grade counts on how much you learn. And because of that accountability, I'm forced to do homework, I'm forced to study. I don't need to make time in my day to do this extra thing because it's homework. If I don't do it, I won't get a good grade. So I like to do that for the foundation of the language because I'll be motivated to get through that part. Then once I'm done with the grammar and basic vocabulary, that's when I like to move on to doing things on my own. So watching TV shows on my own, talking to people on Skype, writing in my diary. Not that I don't do those things while I'm in class. I'll do them on the side, but during that foundational period, I prefer class, and then afterwards I prefer individually. Question number 6, favorite language learning materials. So, I actually wrote a blog post about my favorite language learning websites or apps and stuff, so I'll put that in the description box below so that you can just all see the list and kind of see what those resources offer and what they do. Next question. How much time do you spend actively learning per day/week? That's interesting because right now I'm taking classes, so I'm in class for at least 3 hours per week, and then outside of class it really depends on what I do. In the summer, my routine was to do Rosetta Stone when I was learning French, Rosetta Stone for an hour a day, and then Duolingo for half an hour while I was exercising, and then I would watch an episode of something in French per day. So at least 2 hours a day, if not doing more things I was interested in. That was in the summer. During this time, if I'm not taking a language class, then I'm doing a pretty poor job at language learning. To be honest, I have not been keeping up with Korean as much as I should be. Next question. Oh, my screen went black. What are your short-term and long-term language learning goals? So, long-term, I would love to maintain the languages I already know, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. also build on vocabulary over time as I keep reading books and keep studying, but not actually studying things like grammar. I'd also like to refresh some things that I've forgotten. Short-term goals. Well, I would like to get to a point in Korean where I can have a conversation with somebody and talk about my day. Like, if I could make a video doing a small update like I have in Spanish and French, like very old videos. If I could do that in Korean, I would be happy, short term. I would like to speak it conversationally one day, but I'm working towards that by doing these short-term goals. Next question. What is your favorite language? I get that often, and I really don't know how to answer that because I like a lot of languages. Of course, I'm biased towards Spanish because that is a language my family speaks, and it helps me feel connected to them. I guess I don't really have a favorite language right now. No. Next question. What is the next language I want to learn? Korean, and then after Korean, I'd like to learn Japanese, but you guys may already know that from another video that I've done on languages I want to learn and how I have a list and everything. Other than that, nothing specific. There are quite a few languages I'm interested in, but don't know if I would seriously pursue. Next question, which is actually the last question. What advice can you give new language learners? I would say don't give up. Just never give up, even when you're unmotivated, unless you really know like you're never going to do anything with this language and you just, for instance, I was interested in learning Finnish because I loved the band Nightwish, and even though all their songs were in English, I found out about the Finnish language and I thought it sounded very beautiful. I still do, and I would like to learn it one day, but I think that I lost a lot of motivation because I'm never going to need Finnish. There's no reason for me to learn it even though I like it, and my fire for just liking the language itself has died down a lot. So I would say don't give up unless you're at that point, but if it gets difficult, don't give up. Just take it one day at a time. And that's it for the language learning tag. As I said, check out the person who tagged me and the people I'm tagging below. Check out their channels, they're very cool people. And also check out my blog for more language learning tips. Alright, see you guys later. Bye! Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, remember to press the like button so I can know to make more content like this. Also, remember to leave a comment telling me if you like these kind of videos or if you want me to make other kinds of videos. Also, remember to subscribe so that you can know when my new videos come out. They come out every week. Also, you can check my blog for other content on travel and language learning, and you can check my Twitter for updates.